business is completed. We'll go to new business charter, franchise agreement, 5-year review. I think that's you.
Okay. Should I just kind of sit here and...
You can sit there if you'd like,
okay.
yes. As long as we can all hear.
Okay, great. So my name is Melinda Kinney. I'm with Charter Communications. As all of our customers know it as Spectrum. Charter is the holding company of Spectrum, and it used to be Time Warner Cable. I put together a presentation that I thought might be helpful just to provide sort of an overview of what happened with the merger, some of the benefits and programs that resulted from the merger for Maine, as well as even though the franchise really only governs video cable services, I thought obviously broadband is a service that we do offer, and it's obviously a big economic driver for a lot of communities and municipalities. So I just thought it might be helpful to talk a little bit about some of the speed increases that we're going to be doing. Anyway, just kind of providing an overview, and then I provided my card to you. So if you have constituents or folks in the town that are having a hard time getting through to customer service or something, just shoot me an email or call my cell or text me, whatever you like. And we have an amazing call center down in Portland. We have about 200 employees down there. Actually, we're hiring more, so if you know anybody that needs a job, send them our way. But again, happy to help kind of bridge that gap if folks are having some issues. So please use me as a resource. I'm happy to help. So I'll just dive through, and then if we have questions that come up, I don't know if you want to wait till the end or how you want to roll it, but I'm flexible, so we'll get started. The first page is the packet that you have is really just an overview of kind of the scope of the merger and what it entailed. So Charter was a very small cable company. They were about 3 times, they grew 3 times with this merger of Time Warner Cable and Bright House Networks, which is primarily based down in Florida. So they went from operating in 28 states to operating in 41 states. And the number of customers went from like 6 million to almost 24 million. So you can just see kind of the scope of the scope of the overall merger. It was pretty significant. The headquarters are in Stamford, Connecticut, and our cable services reach over 48 million homes nationwide. The second page talks about some of the benefits that Maine actually has seen over the past year and will continue to see as we move forward. We have rolled out what we call Spectrum pricing and packaging. Spectrum does not charge cable modem fees for their internet service. We've increased the cable modem or the broadband speeds significantly. Time Warner, well actually I'll get to that in a little bit, but Time Warner's highest speed was a 50 by 5 megabit per second service, and now Charter's slowest speed is a 60 by 5. So you can see and we actually now offer 100 by 10 for residential services.
You mean I can get that?
You can get that, and there are no cable modem fees.
Can you call that in?
Huh? Yeah, good. Give me your name. Oh, Gary, I got it.
That's okay.
So, and we're going to be continuing to do those speed increases. Actually, today in the press, we were announcing gigabit services in 5 different states, and so that is kind of a preview of what's to come for Maine in the near future. So I don't have a date or anything, but that's it's on its way.
Will those come automatically, or do we have to request them?
Nope, they'll come automatically, and then depending on what service, like if you need to potentially upgrade, if you have like a 60 by 5, then you can you can subscribe to that other service. We also have rolled out a new in the process of rolling out a new cloud-based guide for your TV. So part of that actually is a couple of really cool things that are going to be coming. We are going to be embedding Netflix into the guide so that so you can actually access Netflix from your actual cable guide, and all of their metadata will all be included within that. We're also rolling out a voice-activated guide. So for folks who have a hard time navigating the remote or are visually impaired, can talk to the remote and it will tune to the channel for them. So those are all features that are going to be rolled out in the near future, definitely in 2018. We've also incorporated Time Warner, like all of the different mobile applications, because a lot of what we want to do is be able to provide the service that you have at home and be able to let you take it with you on the road and make it very interchangeable. So a couple of things, I don't know if you have already downloaded them, or if you're our customers. If you go to the App Store, you can download like a mobile TV app, and then you just sign in with the information you used to sign in to the service, and you can watch TV when you're out on the road traveling. There's also a Wi-Fi finder hotspot. So if you, I think it's still currently under Time Warner Cable Wi-Fi, but if you are traveling, say like in Washington, D.C., and you're looking for a Wi-Fi hotspot, you can hit, we have a partnership with Comcast, with Cox Cable, and then obviously Charter, but you can utilize or hop on their private, or the other cable company Wi-Fi networks anywhere across the country. So it's an additional benefit to your service that you can take. And if you have teenagers like I do, and you lock their data down, they are always looking for Wi-Fi hotspots, so it's kind of a nice tool to have. And we're going to be increasing Wi-Fi hotspots as we move forward. One of the other things on that, the company is going to be rolling out new cable modems that have a dual, that have like almost like dual modems within one. So one of them will be the modem that you use and provision in your house, and then there'll be like a second modem contained within the same device that will actually provide, and it's completely separate from your account, but it will provide additional, like a Wi-Fi network on your street, and then it will basically, other customers, it will match up. So like you could basically, it almost creates this Wi-Fi network down your within your neighborhood for yourself and then customers, you know, that live in the surrounding area. So it's just, again, extending kind of the Wi-Fi applications.
How do you prevent somebody from, you know, now password protect my modem?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have somebody coming in and using your modem and getting me in trouble.
No. Yes, no. They're provisioned 100% separately, but they also have to be a customer, so they have a verification that they need to go through to be able to get on that Wi-Fi. So it's not like open to the public like at Starbucks type of thing. Yeah, they have to be a customer. They have to be a validated customer to be able to access it. And then there's also, the company has, and this is actually a slide that was produced a while ago, but the company's committed to net neutrality. There's been a lot of discussion around the FCC changing the jurisdiction of broadband or internet services from a Title II to back to under the regulation of the Federal Trade Commission, and giving it a light touch regulation. And you know, Charter has committed on all levels for many years now that we are not going to block, throttle, or offer paid prioritization like fast lanes for internet service. So any customer that wants to go to any website that's lawful, they are going to be, they'll have every act, we're not going to hinder that experience at all. So again, I think there's been a lot of concern, a lot of misinformation that's gone on around net neutrality in the news as of the last couple week. But anyway, so I just wanted to kind of reiterate that for you guys as well, so to rest assured that that's not going to happen from the company. If you go to slide 3, just continued information around investments. We are really working to increase our build out in rural areas. We've also rolled out, it's called Spectrum Internet Assist, and it's a low-cost broadband service for low-income families. So families who have kids on the National School Lunch Program, or seniors who are enrolled in receive SSI benefits. We will provide a 30 by 5 megabit per second service for $15 a month, which has no cable modem fee assigned to that either. So it's basically $15 a month for a very decent broadband service. And again, it's trying to help increase adoption rates for broadband services for folks, and that truly can't afford it. So, and so I can send you more information about that if you guys want to, put information up at the library, or if there are folks that come in there that you know of that might benefit from that. And then the last is a commitment to American jobs. So any overseas call centers are in the process of being closed, and he kind of oversees help, and we are adding all of those jobs back to the US. And so even in Maine, as I mentioned earlier, we have about 60 openings right now in our call center, and I think those are all opportunities and jobs that we're going to be continuing to grow, not only in Maine, but obviously across the country. So prior to the merger, Charter had increased their job but they increased their job market in the US by 7,000 just within a year. So a commitment to American jobs, which I think is really great. We do have call centers that share, so sort of a virtual call center. So if you do get a call, like if you do call in, sometimes you will get somebody, but they might be in New York or like Syracuse or Buffalo, but they're in the U.S. So that's always a nice added benefit too. The following slide is a map. Is that the one you guys have, right? Slide 5. So that I provided that. Is that a map or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Our service area in Maine, we have 291 communities that we provide services to. And actually I have this for you guys to show our service area in Belgrade. So I'll do that. I have 2 copies. I just don't know who wants to see it.
You might be interested in that. Well, that's Belgrade, if I'm not wrong.
So, anyway, so I just thought that might be helpful for you to get a sense of where our services are within the community. If there are folks that you've heard that are interested in service and they don't have it, or we need to do a line extension or something, send me an email and I can have, yeah.
Just as a question, so if people are interested, but it doesn't meet the density of 18 homes per mile,
Yep.
you still would do it?
Well, no. Well, we would do it at a cost. So we would typically, so we would get an estimate depending on, what the
So it would be
cost.
a consumer cost.
Yes, like so the company would contribute a certain amount, and then the consumer would pay the delta. Yeah. And if there are pockets, I mean, here's another idea or opportunity we could look at. If there are pockets or areas, neighborhoods, or sections that you want to take a look at. That don't meet the density for the franchise, what we could do is look at a Connect Maine grant as an opportunity. And I know that they're getting ready to announce a grant round the first quarter of 2018, and they are going to be allocating around $600,000 in grant money. So, and we can work with the town on doing an application. So that's definitely an option. But yes, send me a note and I can definitely have somebody reach out and take a look at what the costs might be. I put slide 6 in there just because, I live in these numbers a lot, and a lot of people, there's a lot of discussion around, what do you need for broadband speeds to really do sort of the general, whether it's, video conferencing, watching Netflix, streaming Netflix, gaming, that sort of thing. I thought it might be helpful just to provide this slide. And this slide is from the FCC, but I just thought, again, it might just be a nice point of reference for you in broadband to just kind of get a sense of what speeds are needed for certain applications. The following slide I put together, it's a little wonky and I apologize, but I was just trying to provide like a comparison chart on broadband. So basically comparing the speeds from 2008 to the speeds that we offer today, and then obviously there's the Time Warner, legacy Time Warner, and then now the Spectrum packages that are available. I will say that anybody that's in a legacy Time Warner cable package, they'll be grandfathered. We're not going to force migrate anybody out of a package that if they're happy there, they can stay there. And as I mentioned, Charter's packages they don't have additional cable modem fees. So if you're looking for a higher speed, then that might be another option to move into.
So
but I think
I don't have to change my email address again.
No, we're not changing emails. No. I know. Was it? Yeah.
I have TWC, when they gave it to me, I said, is this going to change?
Yeah.
He said, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
They've said that to me before. So.
I know, like I remember the Adelphia changeover. Like it was a little bit much.
I thought I was the only one that
Yeah.
had one
I
time.
had Adelphia
Yeah.
Frontier.
In Frontier. Yep. Yeah.
What's the
So,
relationship between Time Warner Business Class and Charter?
so Time Warner Business, so Charter has what they call Spectrum Enterprise, and that's basically the business class group.
So did you take over, you took over?
Yes, yeah, that was
business
part,
class?
that got merged
So
into.
getting back to his question, if we
Yeah.
went from business class to residential, would we have to change email addresses?
I don't know on the business side. I can find out. I don't
Because you forced me
know.
to change when I went from Roadrunner to business
To
class.
business class?
And dumped all my old email without me even knowing you were gonna do it.
Okay,
And my question is
on the business side,
whether,
if you
because you're
change.
talking about residential speeds now that are
Right,
what
that's-
I paid for business.
Yep, no, yeah, business is definitely a different entity and, yeah, but mostly 98% of what I focus on is really just the residential side of things, but I can certainly provide contacts for you for the business class side of the house and find out and
I
follow.
will email you with that.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. Okay, thank you.
The next got a question over there.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
I've got
yeah.
two quick questions.
Yeah, sure.
Number one, and I don't mean to personalize this, but I did get a bill yesterday with a $20 increase.
Okay,
Right out of the blue. And that's $240 a year.
right.
And I'm wondering if that's a general system increase, or is it something I need to follow up just on my own?
Yeah, it's not a system, I mean, so we are in the process of doing notices because certain packages or prices are gonna be going up, but that's not till February. And so, I don't know, we should definitely take a
Well,
look.
This hit me out of the blue.
Yeah, if you wanna send me an email tomorrow or tonight, and then I can have somebody give you a call and if you send me your name, or your name.
Okay, as I say, I don't mean to personalize it,
No,
but
no,
I
no.
just wondered if it's a broad thing for the town.
Yeah, no, it isn't. No, so it's definitely specific, it looks like it's very specific to your account. So we should easily, I can easily have somebody reach out.
My other question is, the town is going to have, through Maine DOT, a major road job done this coming spring. I
Okay.
understand.
Yep.
And I'm wondering if your company and if Fairpoint are gonna get off the old poles in time for them to do that job, or the pole work is gonna be done either simultaneously or after and tear up the roadside.
So is everything going underground?
No.
No, okay.
Just they switched, they went to the taller poles for the cable, and now you
Yep.
have the shorter poles, and now you gotta switch Fairpoint and
Yep,
cable
so,
over, so.
yeah, so there's definitely a sequence.
The power is all shifted.
They're shifted.
The
I can
power's all
certainly,
shifted.
yeah, I can check with our guys in the construction, my construction team to find out where we are
Yeah.
within the lineup. Because I know, like I said, usually, obviously, we always have to wait for power to go first, but I can ask them on the timing.
Yeah, the power's been done for.
Yeah, let me,
months and a half, 2 months now.
They were up there before we got all the snow.
what?
They were up there working before we got all the snow.
Yeah, well, they still work in the snow, that doesn't stop
They
them.
haven't been there in the last 2 days.
Yeah, what's the name of the road? Or
Street.
just Main Street?
Well, it's Route 27 in Belgrade Lakes Village,
Oh.
and then it's Route 8 and
That's
11.
Dumbo, Route 8, Route 11.
It's the Oakland Road on your map.
Yeah.
Oakland Road, okay.
Between Route 27 and the Route 8 junction.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Yeah, I'll follow up on that. And then send me a note about your account and I'll speak to you. All right. Speeds. And then, so the next slide is the business class side, business services, just talking about the various services. Again, as I mentioned, the business side is handled separately, but you know, if there is a business that's looking to relocate, you know, certainly we can provision any level of broadband speeds that are necessary. We can do direct fiber connections to them to provide multi-gigabit networks or connectivity. You know, really anything a business needs to connect, whether it's cloud-based services to work-from-home solutions, you know, hospitals. I mean, we've got representatives for each vertical that will be able to help and assist. So again, it's I think can be used as a great economic development tool if you're looking at recruiting new businesses to relocate. And then the last slide is really like what's coming. I mean, obviously 2017 is just about over, but we did increase the broadband speeds this year. we launched the low-cost broadband service that we have, and then also have upgraded the app, the TV app that allows, with more channels, that allows you to take that anywhere you are traveling to. I think more to come next year will be further speed increases, more more integration with the guide, as I mentioned, and just really it's about incorporating the services and being able to make them mobile and more cost effective for you as you go about your business. So that's really all I had in nutshells, but I'm happy to, like I said, answer questions and follow up, if there's something that I don't know.
Any more questions, gentlemen? Yeah.
So, looking out 5, 10 years, 5 years, that's
Yep.
the next 5 years of our
Yeah.
franchise. So do you see an increase in cable drops, a decrease in cable drops?
I see an increase.
And then you see a big increase, and
I
that's
see-
not due to TV cable, is it due just to the internet?
I would say it's a little bit of everything. So I will, over the past 5 years, we've increased the number of homes that we connect, homes and businesses, by about, I think it's like 5,000 a year. I mean, so across the state. So, I definitely see, I don't see us slowing down at all. And I do think that I know that the state is looking at other opportunities to help get to the more unserved areas, and they have a big effort afoot around, expanding broadband services. And so obviously with that, for us, comes a phone service and our video cable service. So I think more.
Okay. Well, I just noticed that it's been up and down in our area, and it seems like slowly climbing.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if there are pockets or neighborhoods, areas that you want to take a look at, we should definitely do that and see if whether it's a Connect Maine grant or something else, there are other things that are happening.
Any more questions? Hey, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. And again, use me as a resource.
Yes.
Happy to help.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We do appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Have we got the warrants?
Because we get our calls for the cable service, right? the TV broadcast.
That's all right.
Go ahead.
Warrant 149.
$60,604.
I'm sorry.
I'll second that.
60,000, yeah.
Is there a motion to accept it?
Yes.
And seconded? Any discussion on it? Ricky, I'm looking
I
directly
didn't
at you.
see anything, I got pretty hard too.
Nobody wants to ask about the Santa Claus suit?
I know what that is, I do it every year.
Okay.
I do have a question.
Good.
I noticed that there are charges here for Hester Fuel. And charges for Urban. I thought we had a contract with the company for fuel.
It's the Urban's goes for gas and
Yeah.
stuff at Christie's.
Yeah.
It's
It's
gas
a
and
contract for
diesel.
heating fuel.
Okay, that answers my question. I think I've raised it before.
Yeah, I think you have. I did once too.
I'm old,
Any more questions, gentlemen? All those in favor of accepting the warrant? It's done. Town manager.
Just wanted to let you know a couple things, as we put, sign is being put on, the town sign is being moved tomorrow. So it's moved tomorrow, I've said that before. But they say that they're pretty sure they're gonna get it all set up. I've put on hold until the first meeting in January, the foreclosure actions on 8 properties that were foreclosed upon. I was asked by Ernie Rice to look at electric supply. I've done some analysis on that. There could be a savings. It depends on who you go with. There's like literally 100 or more suppliers out there. I looked at a couple, Main Power Options, which a lot of people go with, and I looked at Ambit, which is one that Ernie had pointed to me. And looking at Ambit, which is an electric supply, it's only for the supply of electricity. What I saw was the rate for 500 kilowatt usage was 9.5 cents per kilowatt hour. For 1,000, it was 6.5, and for 2,000, which were a little over 2,000, it was 9.5. So the standard offer is going at 7.9 cents per kilowatt hour for our supply. So on that particular one, it doesn't look, but what we do is go out for an RFP, or I could contact Main Power Options to see if we can save some money. I think in doing an analysis on this, the savings are probably, of course it depends on your usage, but looking at, we got a penny to a penny and a half to 2 cents off, we could save anywhere from, say, $850 to $1,780. Oh, that's based on just the numbers I got. There is a cost in going out with an RFP, as you know, but so that's the savings potential with a penny and a half, and 2 cents. Looking at our usage, which is last year we spent $24,000 on electricity. So I've got that broken down if you guys want the chart. So that's that issue. And so if you want me to proceed with an RFP, just let me know. You guys tell me what to do. Here's my notes.
Question, does that apply to all the town's meters? Would that cover
I went through and looked at all of the meters, and the street light rate is a street light rate. So, but I went for all of the various facilities that have electricity, all of our accountants.
How many kilowatt hours per year, roughly?
Well,
Bottom line.
I got a total cost of 24, it was about, I can't tell you the exact number, I'll get it to you.
Okay.
Because let me figure it out, because I was working in dollars, so.
Okay.
They don't aggregate all of our kilowatt usage, they just, it's per meter, right?
And the dam repair, we had some issues with the dam repair. DEP wants a permit. I was able to get the DEP to agree to allowing us to go forward and then go with an after-action permit, and we're hoping that that's a very minimal permitting process, even though it sounds big. So that's going to take place tomorrow, I believe. I think the Warner Brothers. Seacoast Security will be installing cameras here in the next few days. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the report dedication and the memorials. I don't know if you want to do that. How do you want to do that? I mean, I don't know how you've done it in the past. Have you spoken openly about the dedication? Okay. So, a report dedication, I asked, as you know, probably 1.5, 2 months ago, for names or inputs. So what I got is this. I got Bill Pulsifer. Hopefully he's not here. I got Marie Pulsifer, because Marie's been very active in a lot of issues over time. I got both. You can do a joint like we did with Katie and Jack. So those were the ones I got, and it's up to you to tell me how you want that set up, and then we'll start getting the information.
Sounds good to me.
Both, one, the other, both.
Yeah, do both.
There can be some good stories out of that too.
What I plan on doing, because this next one is kind of a sensitive, the dedications to deceased. Maybe I should send those out and see how you want to handle it. I mean, we could talk about the individuals, but there's somewhere around 20-some people that passed away over the last year. And I don't know how you normally pick them. I know that in the past, people have basically said we'd like to have a memorial dedication.
Just don't have a list to go on.
It's good to have a list. I know,
So we'll send it
I
out
know
to
the
you.
list goes into the report. and
Oh, yeah, the whole list goes into the report.
The only one that has been thrown out to me was Joe.
Joe Adam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's.
There were a couple other people that might be something that people would want to do. I don't know.
So we want the list?
Yep.
Yes, please. And I am getting my emails tonight, so, Melanie, you gotta go and look. I'm getting the emails,
You are?
yes.
Oh, good.
And with that, that's, the other mandates.
Questions? And we move into the town meeting articles. And we have discussed all of them at another meeting. I don't believe I have to do anything with Article 1 unless we want to specify who's going to be the moderator.
And this one we were to-
Beginning of the meeting, yeah,
Right.
we need to ask.
I'll ask Steve Martin.
Article 3, to proceed with the voting by secret ballot of the following questions. So the town raise and appropriate the sum of $142,052 to support the recreation department.
Make that motion.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded, we accept that.
Well-
Discussion?
Hang
Do
on.
do we normally have something about, maybe I'm ahead of myself here, but usually isn't there some reference to how many dollars they're
I
gonna?
mean,
How many dollars it, when their certain percentage of their dollars, how the monies are handled, what they take in, isn't that usually on here?
It's
or is
later,
it-
later on.
Or is it
so that's
later on?
another article. If you're looking at the, whether you raise, the 75,000 from the money they raise goes into the all
Okay,
city.
yeah. No, I'm good.
All right, all those in favor? 5?
Budget committee?
Favor?
Okay,
Yes.
Okay, 5
So
and
we're
3.
We're 3 and 3 absent?
Should, I understand that you would allow Dan Newman's request to move forward in putting his recommendations or not.
What was his request?
He had requested, that he had said he's going to be away at this meeting, for this meeting,
Yeah.
and he was wondering
He would like
whether
input.
or not he could provide his recommendations on these articles.
Did he leave those with you? He didn't
No,
communicate that to me.
That's what he said at the board meeting.
I thought we'd be present.
Mr. Barrett?
No selectmen have to be present to vote. Is that not hold true for the budget committee?
I'm just passing on his request.
I'm just
I think
saying,
that's
it should
what
be
Rick was
on the
saying.
request if it's not permitted.
Well,
They don't know if it's permitted, I'm asking.
Rick?
That was my same question. I think you gotta be present to vote.
yeah, I think so.
Nothing is damn sure that it's the same.
All right, Article 4, to proceed with the voting by secret ballot, the following questions: shall the town raise and appropriate the sum of $59,530 to support the library budget?
I'll make that motion.
And do I have moved and seconded? Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? 5, go ahead, budget committee.
3 and 0, 3 and 3?
All right, with the board's permission, we'll leave Article 5 probably until the next meeting.
Yes.
Is that, yeah,
Can you tell me why?
because we're not sure how we're gonna handle it yet.
Are you questioning the wording of it?
I'm questioning whether we're gonna have it in there at all.
Okay. May I make a comment relative to it?
Please?
We listened 2 years ago to an argument totally oriented to increasing the budget because of a part-time to full-time request for people. Saturday, a couple weeks ago, we listened to everybody talk about how they wanted to have a full-time position for the librarian. People quoted the fact that we had 2 previous librarians who left because they were part-time positions. The whole discussion was around part-time, full-time librarian. This wording, saying an increase in the public use of the library, I think is deceiving at best.
We're not, with the board's permission, we'll hold that article. Can I get a motion to do that?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
No second.
All in favor? All opposed? One opposed. All right, next article, Article 6, to proceed with the voting by secret ballot on the following question: shall the town raise and appropriate the sum of $1,500 to support hospice volunteers of the Waterville area? Do I hear a motion?
I'll make it.
Second? Moved and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor? And Budget Committee? All in favor?
3.
3 and 3 absent. Article 7, to proceed with the voting of the secret ballot of the following question: shall the town raise and appropriate the sum of $2,073 to support Central Maine Area Aging, AKA Spectrum Generations?
Make a motion.
And a second? Moved and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor? 5-0.
We got to insert one thing before we go any further, sorry.
Go ahead.
Usually what we do is all those in favor of the article, yes. All those that agree, recommend. We need to really take 2 votes to
Okay.
recommend all those in favor, because we want to put the article, but somebody may be opposed.
I got you.
Sorry about that.
Okay. So we
We
have
could just
5-4,
Yep.
and do we recommend that?
All those.
All those in favor of recommending it? It's 5, all right.
Budget Committee?
And do you want me to go back and do the other ones?
No, that's good.
We're good? All right.
Budget Committee? It's 2 in favor, 1 against, 3
Okay.
absent.
Unless somebody doesn't want to, unless somebody has a problem with, I'm for the article, but I'm opposed.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to anything we've discussed.
Okay. Article 8, to proceed with the voting of the secret ballot of the following question: shall the town raise and appropriate the sum of $1,000 to support literacy volunteers?
Make the motion.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, and also all those recommending? We're good, 5 and 5. Budget Committee?
Katie?
Yes.
Are you in favor?
Right,
Okay,
yes.
3 in favor?
Okay. Article 9, to proceed with the voting by secret ballot of the following question: shall the town raise and appropriate $40,000 for lake water quality programs, including erosion control and invasive plant milfoil prevention and removal, operated by the following nonprofit organizations: Belgrade Lakes Association, Great Pond Milfoil Removal, $16,000. Belgrade Regional Conservation Alliance Courtesy Boat Inspection Youth Conservation, $8,400. Friends of Messalonski Belgrade Stream Milfoil Removal, $13,100. McGrath Pond Salmon Lake Association Courtesy Boat Inspection Youth Conservation Corps, Portalet, $2,500, for a total of $40,000.
Make the motion.
Just to, and I'm sorry, I should probably, I'm just thinking about it now, Gary, but these here, we do not approve or disapprove the article. We
Okay.
can, because it's a petition.
Okay, I
We
got you.
just need to recommend.
Okay, all those recommended? 3. All those not recommending?
I'm for. Because it's gonna be put up to the voter, so let them decide.
So you want 4
I'm opposed.
and opposed? 4 and opposed, 1 opposed.
Budget Committee? In favor? 2 in favor, 1 opposed.
Okay. Article 10, to proceed with the voting with a secret ballot of the following special request: shall the town raise and appropriate the sum of $4,500 to support the Belgrade Lakes Region Business Group 4th of July fireworks with a set rain date of July 5th?
Make a motion.
And
We don't
second.
need to.
Okay, is there recommendations for that? 5.
Budget Committee?
3. Article 11, to proceed with voting by secret ballot of the following special request: shall the town raise and appropriate the sum of $1,116.50 to support the Sexual Assault Crisis and Support Center? This is also just recommendations. All those recommending? That's 5-0. And Budget Committee? 3? No, Katie? 2 and 1 not recommending.
Abstaining or against?
Article 12, to see if the town will authorize the Board of Select Person to act in the following: spend an amount not to exceed 1/4 of the approved budget for 2018 between January 1st, 2019 and the date of regular 2019 town meeting, to vote to accept any and all overdrafts and balances that have lapsed that are not otherwise directed to the undersigned fund. Vote to set Friday, September 7th, 2018 as the date that the 2018 property taxes are due and charge interest at the rate of 4% per annum on taxes paid after September 7th, 2018, with interest to continue until the tax and tax lien are paid in full, and to see if the town will set the interest rate to be paid by the town on taxes paid and later abated at 2% per annum from the date of the tax payment to the date the abated amount is refunded to the taxpayer. 7% maximum per state treasurer.
Make that motion.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded, any discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Barrett?
Comment had been made that the rate for paying late is too low, and that it's cheaper to take the penalty. In other words, let the town carry it for a while and pay the 4%. I wonder if we should change to 4%. Did we discuss that? It came up in one of our meetings.
We did discuss it, and I asked Melanie about it, if it was more people that had the money, was just waiting to pay, or was people that couldn't pay the taxes, and it was people that couldn't pay the taxes. So,
Yeah.
I think if it's not.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? 5-0. And Budget Committee?
There's no
No
budget
budget,
committee
no
article.
budget.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry. That was Article 12. Article 13, to see if the town will appropriate revenues from the following sources in 2018. To reduce the 2018 property tax commitment, vehicle excise tax, $750,000, boat excise tax, $8,000, and license permit fees, $6,000, town fees, $16,000, interest and cost fees, $30,000, cable franchise fees, $43,000, investment income, $2,500, recreation revenues, $80,000, for a total of $935,500.
yeah.
Move approval and second. Moved and seconded. Discussion, yes?
Help me out, what do we do with the other boat excise tax?
Water quality.
Is that in an article? I don't remember seeing it.
I think it's a
But
forever.
that was a forever, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion on this one? All those in favor? 5-0.
Budget committee?
3-0.
3-0.
3-0.
Is this a pretty firm number too? I mean, is that gonna change any?
Is that number gonna change, Danny? This number on 13.
No, we think that that's,
Okay.
Melanie and I went through, in fact, we added the 58 days on it.
I thought you did, but I wonder, that was just a question.
Article 14, to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $496,387 to support the costs associated with municipal operations and administrative activities. Itemized requirements are below. Select persons, including contingency fund, of $7,500, $15,205. Board of Appeals, $1,762. Administration, $323,115. That's town office operations, admin, support, wages, and benefits. Town manager, $97,080. Code enforcement officer, plumbing inspector, $48,400. Planning board, $3,900. Hearing elections, $65,25. And the town historian, $400, for a total of $496,387.
Make the motion.
And is a second. Moved and seconded, any discussion on this? Yes, Howard.
How many hours does the 48,400 for the code enforcement officer
It's
represent?
25.
That's the number for 25?
25 hours. No discussion? All those in favor?
This is with a 2.5% maximum on the raise?
This is with the agreed upon salary he said.
No, the 2.5% is in here for the rest of the employees.
Yeah, I mean, up to, so it may
Up
not,
to 2.5.
Up to 2.5.
thanks.
All those in favor? 5, and budget committee? Oh,
I do not
You
recommend.
gotta,
I'm in favor of putting the article before the town,
okay,
but I am opposed, well, actually, I'm opposed to that.
okay. 4 for, 1 opposed.
And I do not recommend it. I am
Okay.
against recommending it. So
Do we,
if
do
the
the
town
4 of us
meeting,
recommend it?
I can have my say about it.
All right, we recommend, 4 recommend, 1 not, and budget
Budget
committee,
committee? 3 recommend.
3 recommend. Article 50, to proceed with voting on the following question. So the town of Belgrade vote to dissolve the planning board, capital reserve, and the Board of Appeals capital reserve, with all remaining funds to lapse into the general fund.
Make that motion.
Second,
Just recommendation on that one.
moved and seconded, any discussion on this?
Do you have any idea how much money this is?
It's, I think it was, we had the,
You wanna have a number ready.
it's like, well, I have the number, it's right around 6,700, I believe, for the planning board, and the Board of Appeals is right around 3,000, 2,700, something like that. I just can't remember right now.
Just have it for town meeting.
No, I have it here.
No, that's fine, no.
And the same with the next one, right?
Howard?
Can you just tell me what the difference is between the general fund and the undesignated funds?
Difference between general and undesignated there, town treasurer?
It's the same.
Can we get consistent? It
Language.
seems picky, but
Well,
can we
I
get
mean,
consistent
I
and
agree
call
with
it
that.
one thing or the other?
If it is a fund, then it just.
If it's the general fund, call it the general fund. If it's undesignated fund, call it an undesignated fund and use that in our terminology.
Well,
It'll be called the general fund. It's the general fund.
Is there a difference?
there are two parts of the general fund. Undesignated is the money that we haven't, that basically haven't spent, so it lapses in. So that's, it's undesignated, it's not given it's not a portion by anyone, it's just unspent. And then the general fund is whatever other monies are. So there are differences.
What does the auditor call it in the town report?
I don't know, we'll look, we'll make sure it's the same.
Trying to follow that kind of thing through for people who want to do that becomes very difficult when the auditor calls it one thing, we call it 2 different things, and which is it? I don't want to use my other term.
Okay, any more
Just a
discussion on
request.
this? Select persons recommend? Yes, 15.
15.
Okay, 5 to 0. Article 16, to proceed with the voting for the following question, shall the town of Belgrade vote to dissolve the code enforcement legal capital reserve with the remaining funds to lapse into the general fund?
Okay.
And second, moved and seconded, any discussion? Howard?
I thought that there was discussion about creating a legal fund that was going to be this money plus some additional money in another warrant article that we raise. Why is it saying it's going into the general fund if it's going to be creating a legal fund?
Administration, $15,000 to $20,000.
Right. What happened is, I understand at the meeting, right, we talked about that. And there was a discussion about whether it should lapse into the general fund. I had language at one point in time saying it should go in to offset this legal fund that we have under admin. And my understanding, if you were there, my understanding is that you wanted it to lapse into the general fund. That's my
I
understanding.
think when we get to the article about setting up this new account,
But it's not new, it's a fund that you have already, we just increased it.
we're gonna, well, when we get to that point, we can pull monies from, appropriate monies from the general fund. Those dollars that we just put in there, we can appropriate them from the general fund and still fund it with money, so we don't have to raise taxes.
If I remember, the article says raise though.
Well, it may, but I mean, when
Yeah.
we get there, we.
When we get there, we can discuss it, yes. Article 16, recommended? 5, Mr. Barrett, thank you. Article 17, see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $225,766 to support the following divisions of the Public Safety Department with any unexpected balance from the fire and rescue divisions to lapse back into the fire and rescue department reserve account. Emergency management director, $300, fire and rescue department, $201,516. And there's an asterisk there, the dispatch fees of $36,000 has been moved from fire and rescue department to the new division that will be voted on in Article 18. Municipal streetlights, $9,500, animal control, $14,000, health officer, $450, for a total of $225,766. I have a motion and a second. Do I have a second? I've moved and seconded. Any discussion on this article, Article 17? Seeing none, all those in favor? 5-0. Recommended? 5-0.
Budget committee? 3-0? 3.
Article 18, the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $36,000 to support the public safety answering point. Call answering, $7,016, dispatch services, $8,623, rural dispatch, $18,500. Fees are for fire, police, and rescue calls. All fees for call answering and dispatch services may increase in fiscal year 19.
Make a motion.
Do I hear a second? Moved and seconded. Any discussion on that?
Why does that note have to be in there?
Well, it is because there's two contracts that are annual contracts. One with the with the state police dispatch for rural dispatch, and the other with Waterville, which is another dispatch. Not Waterville, I mean Somerset County. And neither could say for certain whether or not they were going to increase. Their contract starts in their fiscal year, which is fiscal year 19, which is July 1st. We'll know by then. If you add those numbers up, you'll see that there's a little more in there than the three numbers that you got. That's hopefully to take care of any increase that they have, if they have an increase. But we weren't quite sure because they couldn't tell us. They operate on a different fiscal year.
Any more discussion? Budget committee, you want to go ahead and vote on that? We'll wait till the other member gets back to vote for the
Oh, okay.
select board.
This is 18 we're talking about?
It is 18.
18. Budget committee?
3-0.
3-0.
We'll wait patiently. Patiently, Ernie. Other Ernie.
May I ask a question about 19?
You can.
What is that $50,000 for?
That $50,000, as I understand it, is for equipment, a truck. The article that set up, as I reference here, the article that set up that capital reserve was Article 31 in 2013. And that particular reserve that was set up was for funds deposited in it to be used for any future capital expense incurred by fire and rescue. That's the exact language in the article that established that reserve.
Okay, why is it, what's the yellow highlight about it? If that was in, if it was in,
Well, when we first gave you that, I didn't add, I don't think that was added in.
It wasn't, we changed it.
We changed the
Yes,
wording.
yes, change it.
The yellow highlights indicate changes from over what we discussed before.
okay, but it's basically, it basically was the existing, 2017 we had it. It's not new, it was created in 2013, right?
Yeah.
This is just continuing on.
Yeah. There's
Okay.
no new, I particularly, I specifically worded it that way, so because in previous articles in the past years, I noticed where there were articles that were referring to a previous reserve, but they were different in terms of wording. So it started confusing me at least, and so I wanted to make sure that there was no sense that we were establishing a new reserve that's the same. That's why I referred to the
Okay,
article.
is there some reason why we don't have actual for 2017 in there?
We're on 18. Board? 18. All those, yes, and recommended? 5. Article 18 is 5, 5, and 3. Article 19, to see if the town will raise the sum of $50,000 to be placed in the fire and rescue department capital reserve account that has been established by Article 31 of the 2013 annual report, with funds deposited in it to be used for any future capital expenses incurred by the fire and rescue departments. Moved and seconded. Mr. Barrett, you have a question?
Yeah, does Article 31 from 2013 specify an amount? Or just establish?
There's no cap on most of the articles. There's only one cap on the reserve account. And, I can find that for you.
Well, I guess my question on this, and probably some of the others that follow, is do we need to put away $50,000 this time around? Can we go with something less, say, $40,000?
Well, you approved that on Saturday last, a week ago this past.
Well, we actually, we only said move it on, it wasn't approved.
Oh, I mean, it was an
We
understanding
discussed-
that I
yeah.
had.
But you
was that it was
can
accepted.
do this at the town meeting, you can
Lower it.
make a motion to lower it.
Lower it, not raise it, but lower it.
This is the way the article should be for the town report.
If I'm understanding this right, this has pretty much been a pretty standard
Yeah.
procedure. The dollar amount, I'm not 100% sure of, but this is for future trucks and everything else, which are
I
extremely
realize
expensive.
the benefit of it, and I don't really oppose what we want to do with it. It's just that, as we all know, the tax rate is going to be high this year. So if we can find a few bucks here and there, it would be worthwhile.
And they'll probably go along with it at town meeting, I would think.
Give me a chance to defend it, or be heard about it. anyways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Howard?
Is there some reason why actual's not in here?
It's there,
Is there a reason?
2017.
Did you put actual, he's asking whether or not we should put it, we had it, why is it actual figure for 2017?
I can do the actual, so it'd just be
Could we put
50,000.
It's just, it says.
It's a little cleanup, it was a little cleanup request.
Okay.
I think, you know, where you've done it in the other places, it's really good. I just, be consistent.
Any more discussion? Those in favor? Recommended,
Budget committee?
5 and 5, and 3 budget committee. Did you get that? 5 and 5 and 3 budget committee. Recommended. Article 20, to see if the town will vote to establish a fire and rescue department building capital reserve account that will raise the sum of $30,000 to be placed in the account. This is new, I think. Yes, it is.
Yep.
Do I hear
I'll make a motion.
and a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? No discussion?
What's the difference between that and one previous?
This is a new capital reserve that they're requesting to be established for a new fire station.
To replace the depot station.
But the one above says also for future capital.
I know, but this is their request, and last, like I said, last.
And we talked about it last Saturday.
Building capital. It's just building capital.
Building.
It's not equipment, it's building. It says building capital, not equipment.
And they'll take less, you know that.
We had a bit of this discussion earlier. I think it would be very helpful to have equipment in one and building in the other.
I think that's what
That's
this
the way it
is.
is.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Well, this one does say building capital.
19 is equipment.
All right,
20
any
is
more
building.
discussion? All those in favor? All those recommending? 5 and 5?
Budget committee? Katie?
Yes.
Yes? Okay,
Three.
3.
As long as you
Okay.
separate them.
They are? They are separated.
Article 21. See if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $466,934 for general maintenance, plowing, sanding, and salt for the town roads as follows, if any unexpected balance to lapse back into the public works road maintenance and paving capital reserve account. General maintenance, $111,884, plowing and sanding, $233,820. Sand and salt, $121,230, for a total of $466,934. And it appears to me it's exactly the same as it was last year.
I'll make the motion.
Moved and seconded, any discussion?
I'll make the recommendation.
Got it? All those in favor?
Sorry,
All those recommending?
I jumped up.
Okay, 5 and 5. You're
Sorry.
killing me here, Rick.
Yes, yes.
3?
3.
Okay. So
Sorry.
Article 22, to see if the town will raise $46,650 and appropriate $6,200 from the cemetery trust for a total of $52,850 to support costs of operation and maintenance for Belgrade cemeteries for 2018. Itemized requirements are as follows: personnel, wages, and benefits, $32,500. Service contracts, $39,770. Supplies and materials, $63,50. Equipment and repairs, $8,030. Unclassified, $600. Flowers, $1,400. Total of $52,850. That is under what it was last year.
I'll make the motion.
Moved and seconded.
I guess one question that I had
Yep.
is, do we have any rough idea what the actual might be, just out of curiosity?
Actual for
The
the
actual-
trust.
Well, they got it down here, it
What did they
says
spend?
actual, there's no dollar.
The-
Well, it just says,
Our-
I guess I would request that we hold this until one of the end of the year items that we gotta deal with, put a hard number in that 6,200, that's an estimated. I think it's conservative,
5,200, you mean?
the 6,200.
See, there isn't a 62, there's a 6350.
No,
Oh,
from the
6,200.
trust.
Okay, I got
It's
you.
coming from the trust,
Oh,
Okay.
okay? I mean, because we won't know that number until we've been told January 5th, but let's say the 10th, whenever we're gonna do the end of the year, the ones that have kind of little end of the year, little cleanup piece things. And the other thing that I would, again, it's a housekeeping thing, but we call it the cemetery trust here, but in Article 24, we call it the cemetery portfolio interest. I think this is probably a carryover from using these articles from previous years, but I think we need to get consistent there. And if we call it the cemetery trust here, we'll call it the cemetery trust in Article 24.
Yeah, so, okay, is it the trust or is it the portfolio interest?
It's a trust now, it's just called the cemetery trust.
Okay.
Board?
The other thing you could do on Article 22, you could do it at town meeting too, when you have the numbers right in front of you.
Well, can we increase the number at town meeting?
No, well.
Okay, but this is a money taking out of the trust to be lowering the amount of money that's gotta be raised, so I don't know what you can do and what you can't do at town meeting
Well,
with that kind of a
the
thing.
board has to, or used to vote whether it was going to be a capped or closed warrant.
Yeah, but that's only on raised and appropriate. This is coming out of a trust.
yeah. Again,
It's up to you.
we should be able to change that at
Yeah.
town meeting.
We can
because all
change the
I
appropriation.
don't think so.
Change the appropriation and decrease the raise.
Right.
The same number, the end result is the same
I
number.
mean, you can do it either way.
You just can't increase the raise.
You can't raise and appropriate if it says like 46,000, you can't say, we want 47.
Okay,
Yeah, that's right.
but we can say it's gonna be more than 6,200 and lower
So
the,
you could lower, yes.
You can't increase the total articles, like you said.
That's right.
I mean, I haven't seen anything that concerns me in the next week and a half of the activity in the market that would cause me to be concerned about that 6,200. Well, because if that came out to be 58, then we're gonna have to raise more than 46, so.
So I guess maybe we ought to make a note to make sure that the numbers jive. and it works.
I think that's very
Yeah, let's
important,
go ahead and
otherwise you
vote
get
on
into an
this.
accounting issue.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and vote on this. All those in favor? All those recommending? Good. And
Budget committee recommending?
What are we recommending now, the exact
Are
number?
you gonna hold this? You asked to have this held, didn't you?
But they decided not to.
we're not gonna hold it. We went ahead and voted on it.
Okay.
So we wanna know whether the budget committee recommends it.
Yep.
All
We're
I
gonna
want to
change it
know,
on the floor.
in making my recommendation, all I want to know is how is the difference going to be accounted for?
Well, go ahead.
You mean on the floor of the town meeting?
Well, if you vote for 6,200 now, and at the town meeting, and it comes out to be 6,302,
Then it'll reduce the
They're
rate.
gonna reduce the other.
It'll
on the
reduce
floor.
the rate.
Just make a motion to town and they vote to change the 6,200 to $6,302. And then on the bottom one, change that from 52,850 to 52, whatever.
No, that stays the same, it's the 46,650.
Oh, 46, I'm sorry, yeah.
so that'll be easier than waiting until we get the bank statement and put it in.
When do
there.
you need the town report? When are you gonna start printing
The town report, we will probably go out to the printers in the last week of January.
that? We could wait on it.
So we can wait on it, that's what I was saying.
Because that's when the auditor's report is due.
We always have one or two articles, we just have.
Yeah, that's
There's
not a
always
big
a
problem.
And this is not a referendum article, so you don't need to have a public hearing on
No. I'll make a motion just to table this until we
And I'll second
further
that.
meet.
Any discussion? All those in favor? We've tabled Article 22, Article 23. To proceed with the voting on the following questions, so the town of Belgrade vote to combine the capital water reserve and capital water line reserve into one account called the Cemetery Capital Water Line Reserve.
I'll make that motion.
And do I hear a second?
Second.
And I hear a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? It's done.
Now we're gonna recommend it.
Let's recommend it. Fine. Okay, Article 24, to see if the town will raise the sum of $2,500 and appropriate $2,500 from the cemetery portfolio interest for a total of $5,000 to be placed in the cemetery waterline capital reserve. Do I hear a motion?
So be it.
So moved, and a second, and seconded.
it. Just to make certain, I thought we had changed the word from cemetery portfolio of interest to cemetery trust.
We'll do it now, do it formally now.
Yeah, changing the word, yeah,
Cemetery trust.
that's what it is.
Yeah, give me a motion on that.
I'll make the motion.
And a second.
It's actually interest and dividends, isn't it? Isn't it
So-
earnings?
Just from the trust, it's coming from the trust.
Let me complete this
Oh,
business
okay, all right.
first, please. All those,
We're not-
all those in favor of calling it the trust,
Yep,
it's 5-0. Call it the trust. Now go ahead, Jack. I didn't mean to cut you off, but we had
No,
this.
that's all right.
Are we good?
well, Jack made a pretty good point, I mean, it's just, it's a minor thing, but I hear what Jack is saying, and it is really, it's dividend and interest.
But the estimation from the figures that we got from Bar Harbor 3 or 4 weeks ago cover the 6,200 request, the 2,500 request, and that's considering 10% reinvest using just interest and dividends. So, again, that number will be hard after the final annual report, and it's gonna come out the first week in January, but that 2,500 number is in effect coming from the dividends and interest. It's not principal that's being projected there, because Melanie and I worked on that when we projected out the earnings for the trust based on the information from Bar Harbor.
I guess there's two,
Oh, yeah.
I think there's two things here. After what I've heard, basically, it's not just interest, it's dividend and interest. So we should change that wording to dividend and interest. And the other thing is, I think we need to table this because we won't have those numbers until the first of the year.
Get a motion to table, please.
But you're only asking for 2,500, you're not asking for any more, correct?
No, we don't know.
If the market dies tomorrow and goes down to,
Okay,
No,
I'll make a
just-
motion, we table it. There we go.
and do I have a second? Any discussion on tabling it? All those in favor?
And we
Tabled.
don't have.
Howard?
No, once it's tabled, there's no discussion.
It's done.
I would have taken comments. Article 25, to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 to be placed into a Plan 5 capital reserve account for future surveying and construction of new cemetery lots.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
And moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those recommending?
Just
Go ahead.
no, I'm good with that, but just to insert, maybe it might clear our heads a little bit, is basically, we make a motion to approve the article.
Yeah, I
and
got it.
the recommendation goes in the book and people read it. That's
Yeah.
why there's two different things.
Yeah, I got it, yeah.
No, I just want to make sure, I don't want to make it complicated.
No, it's fine.
I don't even know what I'm doing.
Howard?
But we could,
3.
I've got just a comment on this one, and then we'll vote. But I think at the town meeting, there should be some preparation to explain to the town approximately how long this what this job is gonna take to completion and how long it's gonna take. Because we've been reserving and reserving and reserving into this area, and it just keeps on going.
Okay. Article 26, see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 to be placed into the facilities cemetery truck replacement reserve account for vehicle replacement. And we did talk about this on Saturday.
Did we vote on 25?
We did.
Yes,
Are you opposing it?
Oh, I'm not.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion to accept it?
So be.
And a second?
Second.
Got a second. Any discussion on this one? Article 26.
Recommend, we gotta recommend.
Article, all those,
I
yes,
have a question, but
go ahead.
is it a cemetery truck too? So it's facilities / cemetery truck?
Yes, that's my understanding.
No.
Right.
That was new to me. It used to be just facilities,
Should be just a town truck.
town truck, I thought. That's all right, doesn't matter.
Well,
It's
actually,
used-
does it matter?
It's used.
Is the trust called for facilities cemetery
It's
truck?
called the Facilities Cemetery Truck Replacement
Okay.
Reserve.
That's what
So that's what it's called, that's what we gotta call it.
I guess, I'm not sure if we need to really clarify it or not, but again, I think the truck is also used for the transfer
It's
station.
used for all,
So
well, that's a
do we
facility.
wanna call it
Yeah.
a town truck? I mean,
Is this a big truck or these pickup?
No, this will be the one time, right?
The one ton.
Yes.
well, it's really, if it's the one-ton dump truck, isn't that really a facilities?
Could be used anyway.
It can be used anywhere. It's a facility.
Facility.
It'll be used at transfer station, it'll be used at
That's a
cemetery.
facility.
Used around town, other than to travel back and forth.
It'll be used at the town. I can guarantee you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's fine.
You got it?
We got it.
All those in favor? All those recommending? Are you recommending, Ricky?
Oh, yeah, yeah, I just gotta get back together here.
And the budget committee?
Recommend.
3. Article 27, to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 to be placed into the cemetery equipment replacement reserve account for equipment replacement. Can I get, I have a motion to accept. I have a second. Any discussion on this one?
This is for the lawnmowers.
Yeah.
Yep. No discussion, all those in favor? All those recommending? It's 5 and 5.
Budget committee?
And 3 from the budget committee. Article 28, to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $184,222 to support town facilities maintenance, and that's facilities $103,250, CFAS. Center for All Seasons, $15,763. NBCC, North Belgrade, $4,345, the garage, $2,600. Salt and Sand Shed, $1,950. FD Lakes, what's that?
Fire department.
Fire Department Lakes, $5,970. The Depot, $4,115. North Belgrade, $6,175. Transfer Station, $10,631. Parks, $4,800. Dalton, $5,400. Dams, $420. History House, $270. Town Office, $17,283. Vacant Town Office, $750. Library, $500. I have a motion
I'm second
and a
it.
second,
Now I got a question.
and open for discussion, yes.
Isn't the Dalton property supposed to be self-supporting from the rent it's accumulated?
There,
We went through this a year or so ago, and there was no money in the account because it'd been
you're gonna.
taken out and put in the wrong
This
place.
is where you have Dalton facilities, and then I think the auditor, we were told to,
I can answer part of
Okay,
This is-
that. I think some of these, and I'm not sure
okay, hold on a second.
exactly, on the Dalton property, the $5,400, I mean, we still mow, plow, and do those things. That's,
Yeah, this
even
is-
though we're
And
getting
we do
rent
maintenance
money.
on the buildings.
Okay, you have to do
And this is you have to have an account to
No,
expend.
that's fine, I get it now,
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Any more discussion on this article?
So is the
Yes.
source, is the source identified? Is Dalton one of the ones that's shown as income?
It is an income. It's
But
the,
where, I mean, when we look at vehicle excise tax and boat tax and so forth, I don't see Dalton property revenues in there. Where does it show up as a revenue? Other than just in the general fund?
It just goes into the general fund. I think that, as I remember when I first came on board, there was a question, I had a question about this. My understanding, the auditor, I thought, this is my understanding, that the auditor recommended that whatever monies you got from the Dalton properties and rent went right into the general fund, as I understand it. The revenue.
So,
Then we shouldn't have to be raising tax money. It should be, the $5,400 at least should be coming out of the general fund. That's where the rent's gone.
You
it
can both
says
offset.
raise and appropriate, so I guess.
Arnie?
And all it
It-
says.
I thought those,
Is it and all?
rent from the Dalton property, I thought that was going into the facilities maintenance to take care of the buildings in town. But we stopped doing that and it goes now into the general fund?
This, well, this is where I was
Confused?
confused, because,
Asked that question last year.
because as I understood it, when the auditor came forward,
Yeah.
the auditor said you have to, essentially, you can't have a fund like that. And that it should go right into a general fund, you receipt it that way,
Yeah.
as a revenue, and then you expend it out of an expense account. That's what I understand, so.
I think that income is trackable.
No,
It is.
yeah, it's tracked.
So it's going into a revenue account, and we expend out of an expense account. Previously, it was going into a general ledger account, when we were expending out of a general ledger account. And you're not supposed to expend out of a general
That's
ledger
what I
account.
understood.
So would it be wise for us to know what that number is at the end of the year and just say raise X, Y, Z dollars and then appropriate those dollars so we know that those are actually, we just got a number, raise and or appropriate. I guess it would be good for the taxpayer to know that, oh, we're appropriating these amount of dollars from, and that's the revenues from the Dalton property. And then people get to see that we're actually bringing money in and spending, and we're not raising taxes unnecessarily, I guess that.
So you would appropriate out of that revenue account a certain amount of money to offset.
Out of the, well, we must have a record of how much goes into the general fund, so if we appropriate that amount of money, because it gives us one number, it says raise and or appropriate X, Y, Z, but it doesn't show how much are we appropriating.
Yeah.
We just,
So
I
just
think
so
we
I
can
can
just-
clarify that. For myself.
Again, maybe I'm not understanding this, but is there more revenues here that are going into the general fund?
There's more money from the revenue, yeah, you're getting about 15,000 of it in revenue from the all the properties you're getting.
He's not.
Roughly, it's probably more like 18, yeah, probably more like 8, because you're getting 900 on one property, 750 on another, something like that, per month. And that goes into the, it's a revenue that goes into the general fund.
Isn't what Ernie's suggesting the same as what we do as a town with the revenue from the transfer station?
Pretty much it would be the same, yeah.
I just noticed.
Okay, so
Well, we have to find out what the number is, the exact number is, that we want to, just like the transfer station article.
You have and or, doesn't that mean you can do some from either?
Yeah, I think Ernie is saying that he would like to have he'd like to be able to offset. So he'd like the taxpayer to know exactly what was coming from the money raised through renting the Dalton properties.
Yeah, that way they can see how much we actually are gonna raise, and then we're pulling 19,800?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Said
it's roughly-
900.
That's
Well,
about-
I gave you really
That's just a
numbers.
rough number, but we're gonna raise this.
So would
much
you want the whole
appropriate.
amount going to offset the facilities, or just the offset the Dalton portion?
I think all the facilities.
Just the
That's what
facility.
it's supposed to be,
Okay, so
wasn't it?
then that's what we do. Okay,
Then let's go ahead and table this one.
table, and then we'll
Yep.
adjust that to reflect.
Motion's made, I've got a second. Any discussion on tabling it? All those in favor? we're good.
Glad I brought that question up.
Well, no, that's a pretty good point. If you're making money on it, why are we
Well,
raising
it
anything?
takes a little away from the taxes.
I know you've tabled it, but may I just request that we get some explanation for why some of these numbers are away from other accounts? And there's another line item for the transfer station. Why is there a transfer station amount in this article also?
Because it's for the facilities, not for the, this is just the facilities, all the town facilities, what this budget is,
Yeah,
like
you know that-
electricity and things like that.
But the Dalton House is also just a town facility.
Are you saying that, I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
We raise and appropriate money to run the transfer station.
Yeah,
What is this 10,631 that's in here that wouldn't be expected to be in the transfer station budget?
Electricity and fuel and snow removal.
This is some of what you pulled out from the new accounting process?
This
Okay.
is strictly facilities.
Okay, this is, we voted to table this.
And the same issue arises with other items in this list.
Yeah,
Center for All Seasons,
that's what I was trying to
North
understand.
Belgrade Community Center.
But that's the
that's
new accounting?
The new, yeah, that was the change made recommended by the auditors, I understand
That's where they're different things.
Okay, so that's gonna be relooked at a little
that.
later.
We'll bring that
date.
back and we'll
Yeah.
offset it with the.
Yep. Article 29, to see if the town will raise and appropriate sum $17,200 to support the following project: install cages for additional security within the town office, $15,000. The water treatment system leak protection, $2,200. Also in the town office, this is $17,200.
I'll make the motion.
And I'll second it. And is there any discussion on
I
this?
have a question. You know, everything is always serious, but I'm just kind of curious, you know, are these cages that go around their seats?
Absolutely.
Only the treasurer.
Look at you, that's the chair.
Technically.
Any more discussion, gentlemen? Howard?
The reason I'm having a hard time with this is, I understand the arguments that have been made in the past, the whole business of security is important.
It's
Can
security.
we not lock file cabinets and lock things that are of a concern from a security perspective, rather than having to put a cage up there?
There's a lot of ways you can provide for securing public information, confidential information. There's a lot of ways you can do that. There are also ongoing activities, so as I understand it, if every day you move things into files and stuff like that, it just takes extra time and stuff. This locks down that whole area, so no one can get in it like tonight, if someone were having a meeting in another room or something like that, without anyone here. So that's the purpose, that's what other towns have done, that's what I understood was the intent at one time. And that's why you provide locks on these doors, those doors, to try to lock that area down. But if there's a meeting in the meeting room back there, it's not locked down. So that's, and that was the discussion we've had a couple sessions, so.
Augie?
Are the new security cameras going to pan the
Yes.
room as well?
It'll take care of the room, this room, the outside, drive, coming into the drive.
So I guess my thought is, well, if that's covered by security cameras, and there wasn't sort of a breach of, you know, a break-in of some kind, or somebody, I mean, we could look at the security cameras and find out who did it without necessarily, well, potentially, without necessarily paying for the security cages.
We can do whatever, I mean, this was something we came forward and.
We've talked about this a number of times.
We'll let the taxpayers decide.
Yeah, maybe that's.
Any more
Well-
discussion?
Howard gets one.
Go ahead, Howard.
Well, we've lumped the two together. I mean, protecting the potential for a flood from the reverse osmosis system, I think is an unfortunate oversight that we didn't consider when we put it in, and necessary. Like, the 15,000 for the cages, it seems hard to imagine, I mean, in a meeting like this right now, the front door is open so people can come in. So the cage is gonna be put down and everything's gonna be blocked off, and is your office locked right now?
No, because I'm here.
But somebody could walk in from the front door and walk into your
In fact, my
office.
office won't be locked if that meeting room is being used, but the one cabinet that I have confidential information in will be locked. So people can walk through my office.
Okay, so that's making a provision in your office by simply locking a cabinet, and we can't do that in the rest of the office complex to?
We can do virtually anything you want, from zeroing this article, this potential request out to passing it. What I understood when this building first came out was that it was following the construction status of a certain building in green, and those were essentially meant to be here, and it was, I wasn't here, so it was an oversight.
Katie?
There would be times when it would be nice to have that locked down, particularly when money's being involved
Yeah.
and it's open to the public.
One of the-
I mean, cashing out at night,
Exactly.
working maybe a little later than they do today.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea to do that. Then it would be totally closed off.
Yeah, and what we had planned on doing with the 3 doors that we bring down is to actually open the office hours up to 5 o'clock rather than 4:30, where they now shut the door and count the money. I wanted to expand the office hours so you'd be able to pull 1 cage down, count the money, well, 2 cages down, count the money, and then you would rotate through. So that was part of the thinking as well, but, you know, this is just, it's up to you guys.
Gentlemen? All those in favor? And all those recommending? Huh? Okay, so you- four recommending, 1 opposed, 1 not recommending. Budget committee,
I'm
2 and 1?
favor of this.
2 and 1. Article 30, to see if the town will appropriate the sum of $32,500 from the Recreation Capital Reserve account for the following projects: at the Center for All Seasons, painting, staining, and repair of the outside for the Center of All Seasons, $22,000. Upgrade and repair the pool, $7,500. Replace security cameras, $3,000, for a total of $32,500. And I'll second it. Any discussion on this one?
So this is the one where we had a great deal of discussion surrounding the refurbishment of the outside of the building. I thought I had changed the language on this, but apparently I didn't get it to Melanie. But the question is, do you want to spend the $22,000 in the upcoming year that may, 4 or 5 years down the road, you might have to stain it again? Or do you want to redo the whole outside, which was Jack's approach, and look at the cost? Now, Gary hasn't gotten back to me with the cost. He said it's going to be at least 50,000 plus or minus. So there is no firm number yet. But that was the intent, I understood, was to try to find out a number to refurbish this in total. It's coming out of the Center for All Seasons Reserve, and so.
Arnie?
I think when we discussed this, it was, the thing that was left up in the air was we was going to contact the people that had a lot of investment in that building to make sure
Part of it.
whatever we put on the side, but to do 22,000, and then 3 or 4 years from now, have to spend another 50,000.
And that's a process.
Yeah.
And it won't, we wouldn't be able to, I wasn't able to go to see the various people that invested in that community.
But the problem is, you spend 22,000 now, in 5 years, you spend 22,000 again. 5 years later, you spend 22,000 again. You now went beyond that, what it would cost probably to do it now. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to table this.
We are trying to get the number, Gary's trying to get it to me, but the number will be just an estimate. And my understanding is that you wanted a process to occur, so I think Ernie Augie was saying, well, you can't just go do it. You need to contact those people that may have some sentiment about how it looks and get agreement. Isn't that right, Augie?
Yeah, I mean, I guess initially I was in favor of spending this to bring it up to snuff, right now. And then prior to spending this kind of money again in 4 or 5 years, whatever it might be. I mean, if we do it correctly now, maybe it's longer than 5 years, but that, you know, we have, that gives us all the time in the world to you know, identify the people involved, the product that, you know, would.
Got a motion on the floor to table this, is there a second?
Second.
Moving to second, we table it, any discussion on tabling? All those in favor, it's tabled. Howard, you had a comment?
My recollection from a couple of Saturdays ago was that we were gonna leave this just the way it is, and we were gonna talk about it, we were gonna be able to get those estimates together by town meeting. And we can raise this at town meeting, because it's not an issue of raising taxes, it's just changing from the fund.
That wasn't my recollection, but it may very well have been what we discussed, it just wasn't that.
Okay.
The
Maybe I
discussion,
was
I believe, ran
completely-
around whether to do it now or to invest now and not have to invest later, but we don't have any numbers on it yet, so
That's another reason to stay.
it's tabled. Article 31, to receive and voting of the following questions, so the town of Belgrade vote to dissolve the building and grounds capital reserve established by Article 6 of the 2014 town of Belgrade meeting warrant, with any funds in the account to be placed in the town facilities capital reserve established by Article 42 of the 2017 town of Belgrade meeting warrant. The reserve to be funded by income generated from the rental of 8 and 10 Dalton, and 50% of any revenue generated by the sale of foreclosed property. Do I hear,
Well, yeah, I'll make a motion,
and a
but
second? Moved and seconded. Go
looks like
ahead.
we gotta go back again, because we just told them to use the money in facilities, now we've got it spent here, so it's a double whammy, if I'm reading
Yeah,
this
yeah,
right.
you're reading it right, that's,
Okay, way out.
we were, Melanie's whispering in my ear over here saying, but we were only taking 5,400 out to offset the facilities amount, is what she's saying to me.
I thought that's what I understood.
So you need to get it clear for all of us.
Should be taking
Yeah, and I'm not
50% of
clear
it.
with it, that's,
That's what Article 42 passed in 2017. Article 42.
50%
yeah, we could put 50,
50% of it
50.
should be
Says,
offsetting the facilities expenses.
I don't have a problem with
That
that.
doesn't seem like rocket science.
I think what Howard's saying, you could put 50% into this and 50% into the building
Facilities
facilities.
for the Dalton money. okay.
That would take care of all the money coming in, and it would be dispersed in both places. I think
It should it should reduce the amount of actual tax dollars that have to be raised for facilities maintenance.
Right.
Carrie, are you getting this?
Mm-hmm.
And?
Article 28 should be reduced by 50% of the
Fine with that?
Dalton property.
Good.
Get past your breakdown on
This
So
is,
doesn't, I guess,
it. See, right now,
So
50%.
Isn't that what's supposed to be?
the town facilities capital reserve, we just took all the money from the Dalton property, so we don't need to do anything with, unless we're gonna keep taking 50%.
well,
No, you didn't do it, you tabled the motion.
No, but I mean,
We'll have to act on that tabled article.
the,
so we didn't know the dollar amount.
That's right. We didn't know the income.
Yeah.
okay, this is,
Don't you investigate that?
No, no, we should go.
this is what the Article 42
No,
was,
that's good.
apparently it wasn't copied exactly here. It says here, to see if the town will vote to use funds generated from foreclosure sales to fund both the water quality improvement fund and create a town facilities capital reserve, with the proceeds to be divided evenly in both accounts. And then it remains in effect forever until changed by future vote. So I don't know how that rental got in there.
So that should go away in this article, is that what you're saying?
Yes,
That would make sense.
because the Article
I'm happy
42
with that.
does not say that's, I didn't pick up on that when I reviewed it.
I'm happy with that. That goes away and goes back in the facility maintenance.
Okay, do we want to table this and have it reworded?
Yes,
I'll reword it and get it right up.
I'll make that motion.
Second, all those in favor of tabling? It is tabled. Okay, Article 32, to see if the town will raise $227,485 and appropriate $25,000 from the anticipated revenue from solid waste operations for a total request of $252,485. In addition, place $5,000 of unspent funds into the solid waste capital reserve account and/or any revenue shortfall be taken from the solid waste capital reserve account to cover the overage. Request to raise $227,485 and appropriate $25,000 for a total of $252,485.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it. Any discussion on this article?
Is that a pretty true number, you think? 25,000?
The revenue? No, it's like between 35 and 40,000. It used to be 20, but they.
We raised it to 25. They had recommended only 20. They give between, I did an analysis on that, between
So how much is gonna go into the capital?
25,000 will go to,
Only 5,000 of it goes into capital reserve of unspent funds.
this is the question. So their revenues, the amount that you put in last year and the year before was $20,000. The 2 years prior to that, the revenues dropped substantially and you really didn't pull anything from their earnings from recycled material. But the actual sales have increased, total revenues raised have actually started increasing. So we pushed this, what they requested, to 25, and I talked to them, we moved that up to 20, they had 20, and I talked to them, we moved it up to 25. The range that it's in is like 30 to 37 is in income, but we don't know what's gonna happen in the next year, especially with the China issue, where China is not recycling as much, so.
I'm fine with it, if that's.
That's how we came to the 25.
That's fine.
Does that also include disposal fees?
Yes, in
Only-
bottles, I think.
Howard?
Why don't we, as we have talked about for the trust, wait until the end of the year and take an actual number here and put it in there? And if it's 30,000, then put in 30,000. If it's 32,000, put in 32,000. Put whatever the actual number is in there. They should have a year-end statement as of the end, December 31st.
This is an estimate for next year, right?
Based on this year.
Based on this year and last year, and the year before. So
And
it's an
due to
estimate.
the volatility of the markets.
I understand the volatility of the markets, and I understand that concern.
I'd rather go with a lower number, just if it's higher, it's an offset.
I guess,
Yeah, it's anticipated.
how much money's in that capital reserve?
Their capital reserve?
Solid waste capital reserve account, how much money is?
It just seems like it's more, no stashing.
Let me go get it now. It won't have this year's in it.
But if we did have the policy to do as you say, to take last year's actual and apply it against the following year, we would have consistency from one
Yep.
year to the next, and we would know what the number should be.
Yeah, and if it goes up, it goes up. If it goes down, it goes down. And if it goes up, then we can save the taxpayers some money. And if it goes down, we're gonna have to appropriate more. But right now, we're just
Yes.
building another fund.
Anybody need to go to the It's that way.
Not yet.
No?
No, but supper would be nice.
What'd you order from Dave's? It's being delivered, you know.
No,
The solid waste capital reserve, at the end of year 2017, it was, well, no, we're not at the end of the year, but it's roughly $39,333.
I guess there was a little bit of discussion while you was gone, Danny, but, and I'm trying to get my head around what I was trying to say here, but if we were to appropriate $25,000 from their capital reserve, and then at the end of this year, whatever they make goes into their capital reserve, and then we just keep pulling it out, then we would know every year what we got to work with. Unless we've got some monies from their capital reserve that they're gonna need. I know.
Well, I really don't know how they came up with the 20 to 20, I know how they came up with the 25,000, because I looked at the money that came from recycled goods. Said, look at you can really move it up a little bit, just like I did with the Center for All Seasons, I moved that up. But they get pretty hesitant, the committee gets pretty hesitant about moving it up too far. So, I mean, that's,
So actually, we're really only spending money as it's coming in. So we're only gonna raise this much.
this is anticipated revenue.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's, I'm fine with that, yeah, that works.
All right, any more discussion, gentlemen? All those in favor? All those recommending? Aye. Mr. Barrett? I didn't see it.
But
Budget committee? Recommending? Okay.
3?
3.
Article 32. Article 33, see if the town will raise and appropriate sum $2,500 as compensation and support for the following social service divisions: Memorial Day $700, July 4th $400, Holiday Stroll $400, Emergency Fuel Fund $1,000, for a total of $2,500.
I'll make a motion.
And I'll second it. Any discussion on this one? Seeing none, all those in favor?
I guess, we just, was there an article in the beginning about the 4th of July?
There was an article for
fireworks.
fireworks.
This is
Well,
just
this is
45.
This is police for the,
Okay, yep,
that,
good,
right?
good, I'm on board. I'm on.
Okay, we've all voted, recommendations.
Yeah.
5 and 5. Budget committee, 3, okay. Article 34, to see if the town raise and appropriate the sum of $6,450 in support of general assistance.
Make a motion.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those recommending? Budget committee?
3.
Article 35, to see if the town will authorize the Board of Parks and Recreation to conduct fundraising to support capital and/or operating and programming costs for the Belgrade Recreation Department. Fundraising proceeds of up to $80,000 will be applied to the reduction of taxes and revenues above this amount to be placed in the recreation equipment and repair reserve.
Make that motion.
And I'll second it. Is there any discussion on this one?
Is this the article you wanted to raise?
As far as the recreation, yeah, that takes care.
Yeah.
And again, initially I moved this is the Center for All Seasons article, and I moved that up to 90, looking at the revenues, but in talking to the rec committee, they were, and actually, I think it came through the budget committee, they thought I was pushing a little bit too aggressively. And so we went back to the rec committee, and they said they were more comfortable with the 80. rather than the 90.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? All those recommending? 5 and 5. Budget committee?
3.
Article 36, to see if
Can I
the
just make one comment on
Yes.
that? They've actually come a long ways, and they're almost
Self-sustaining.
self-sustaining, so that's the goal.
And they're paying for the.
I just think they should, I hope, you know, they really need to be recognized.
I get the credit where the credit's needed.
They're going in the right direction.
Article 36, to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $11,200 as Belgrade's share of the 2018 operating maintenance cost for the Region's 3 dams. Belgrade Lakes, Wings Mill, and Salmon Lake. Total projected cost, $217 equals $20,000. Rome shares $5,400, Oakland's $3,400. $10,000 is for the ongoing annual maintenance of the 3 dams, and $10,000 is to address the growing problems with the wooden crib structure on Wings Mill Dam, controlling Long Pond.
Make a motion.
And I'll second it. Any discussion on this one?
Does this comfortably, I'm sorry, does this comfortably cover what's going on now down in Belgrade Lakes Village?
That money was raised last year, and if they need more, that actually was raised last year, and if they need more, they have a reserve account that they can pull from. But this is for next year, and the Wings Mills Dam has some issues that they want to address. So this is the request, the $10,000, that's normal maintenance, plus $10,000 for the Wings Mills Dam.
So this has nothing to do with the...
It has nothing to do with, because that's already taken care of from last year's request.
Who handles the dam's reserve account? Do we do that in this office?
Well, that's yes, by the interlocal agreement between the 3 towns, Belgrade, Oakland, and Rome. Belgrade is supposed to handle that money, invest the money to get interest in the reserve, and currently it requires, and I'm going to address this over the summer, talking to the 3 towns. But when I went back and read the agreement, basically says the Dams Committee can expend the money that they raise and appropriate. Any money in the capital reserve, each town has to approve taking that money out and spend. I would like to communicate with the select board's approval that to the other towns, saying, look, those are your representatives, let them pull the money out of the capital reserve as they see fit. So that just takes a renegotiation on that agreement if you guys want to go that way.
Is the status of that reserve reported in the town report? Our town
Yes.
report is.
It has been.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? And recommending, 5 and 5. Budget Committee. And let's see here.
Gary,
Yeah,
just one quick comment related to that. Denny, if that is in fact the intermodal agreement with the towns, would it not be appropriate to be putting that money into Bar Harbor?
Well, that's something we can discuss because, yeah, I think it would be appropriate to put whatever reserve money there is in the most, the bank that gives you the most, the investment approach that gives you the most money back. Yeah, I think that's appropriate. But,
That's not a Belgrade decision, I would say.
well, according to the interlocal agreement, it says Belgrade is to invest the money at the, I can't remember the exact words, but it was at the best interest possible or something along those
I
lines.
think it would be wise to get the agreement of the other towns.
Yeah, that's.
In any case.
Yeah, that's exactly, I think there needs to be some discussion, and I don't think the town would oppose some of the changes, it's just that we need to have that discussion. And it's just not right now.
It seems like we have an easy vehicle to use to make that a better investment, that rather than just sitting in an account that, you know, wherever it's sitting right now.
Yeah, wherever we're getting 0.2%.
210, yeah, on a savings account.
Article
I think
37.
we need to make sure that's just an interest-bearing account.
Yeah, yeah, no dividend.
No, yeah, nothing that's, you know.
Article 37, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $500,138 for the combined 2018 debt service, broken out as follows: six-year payment of the sand salt shed, $50,334. Third-year payment for the new town office, $49,893. Final payment for the roads capital improvement bond, $399,911, for a total of $500,138.
I'll make a motion.
And I second it. Any discussion on this?
There's no choice.
All those, yeah, Jack?
No, I think it would be helpful if these articles were worded 6 of whatever the period is, 10 or 15 years, I don't remember what the period is, so that there's some
So you know the end date?
knowledge of how long these are going on.
Yeah, whether it's 6 of 10 years or
6, yeah.
3 of 5, yeah. I agree with that.
So have the information ready.
Thank you.
So let's vote on that. All those in favor, gentlemen?
Voting on the article or the change?
We're voting on the article, the change, they'll do the changes. All those recommending, we did it?
Budget committee.
We don't have a
Reason.
choice on these.
No,
This
no
is
choice.
no option.
Well, you have a choice.
Yeah.
Let them take a stand.
Yeah, go ahead.
Article 38, see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to pay interest charges and costs associated with with the TAN in 2018. Do I hear a
I'll make a
motion?
motion.
And I'll second it. Is there any discussion on the TAN?
Why tell me again why it's so much more money?
Well, remember last year, the interest rate was about 1.17, I believe
Right.
it was. And before we put an interest amount in, I asked Melanie to call around to the banks to see what they anticipated would be the interest in the upcoming TAN season, so to speak. And a couple of those banks reported back that it's going to be 2.5 to 3% interest. The Fed just went up a quarter of a point, I guess. So anyhow, as a result of that, we felt it proper to at least take that into account. So we put in 2.5%, and that we'll know at the town meeting what that actually will
So
be.
you could lower that
So
at
it
town
will be lowered at the time.
That we would expect to do that, right?
We expect if
we
it is
We
lower.
always do.
I think that's what you said, but I couldn't remember.
All right, any more discussion? All those in favor? All those recommending?
Budget committee,
And,
Yes.
3-0.
But yes,
yeah, another one where we had a lot of choice, so Rick?
that's right.
See if the town will raise and appropriate $121,232 to pay general liability and casualty workers' compensation, unemployment, and health reimbursement, administration fees for municipal employees, with any remaining funds to be used to offset the 2019 budget. That's $121,232. Can I get I have a motion, do I have a second? Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this one? Mr. Barrett, or Mr. Ketchel?
It's getting late.
It is.
In this is that $40,000 health reimbursement account funded for every person that can take health insurance. As I discussed at the actual meeting, Saturday meeting, we could reduce that to 40%. In other words, we could cut that down to 16,200, I think is the number. If you wanted to, because the experience on the last year was that we only expended 30% of the money, so by going to 40% of that, it saves money from raising and appropriating and going into the general fund if we don't expend it. Howard?
How many years have we been doing the HRA?
This is the second year?
This is only the second year of it?
I don't
I'm
know.
not sure, whenever they voted to change the insurance.
That'd be like 4 years ago.
I
4 or
thought-
5.
Yeah, so
I was gonna say, so what's our history? I know last year's,
it's
do we,
like 30%. I didn't know that we had 2 other years. What was it, same as previous years, same
No.
experience?
Right.
Roughly the same, she said.
So that's gone up 4.
So going to 40% gives us a kind of a little leeway, but, you know, we don't need to raise the full 40,000 is the point.
that's, right.
So if you
So we
would,
would
we'll
reduce-
reduce that by, to a 40% level, which is
What was it, 16?
16.2. I think.
Two?
Need
So we're gonna change that
We do.
121 number right now?
Can I make a motion, we reduce that to 40%, the HRA, 40,000?
I'll second it. Any discussion, gentlemen? All those in favor? It's now 16,200.
You want to table the article to have it refigured for that?
It's up to you guys.
Yeah, let's do it,
Yeah, make a motion.
just to make sure that,
The numbers are right.
Table that.
and I'll second that. All those in favor?
So you agreed to reduce the HRA, but you
16.2, yes.
tabled the article?
Yeah,
So we see it, yeah.
We'll just reconfigure it.
Article 40, to see if the town will authorize, designate, or release the collective sum of $13,000 as dictated of the following trusts and funds. Authorize use of Don C. Stevens Fund for the public school of Belgrade, $13,000. The total article is $13,000. Is there,
I'll make a motion.
and I'll second it. Any discussion on that? Yes.
Again, I request you to wait,
Yeah,
table
please.
that until January so that we can put the actual number in there.
Do that.
All of these,
What's that?
I think that's reduced enough, so this is probably going to be, it's never going to be up any, unless they make a lot of money.
I think
It was 15,000 something last year,
That number last year was
not right?
erroneously created.
yeah, I
Okay,
think,
Danny, go ahead, please.
I think what Howard is saying is that we don't know until the end of the year, probably January 5th to 10th, sometime in that timeframe, what the actual income will be from those. And his recommendation is on these articles, because we don't have the final numbers, is perhaps table them until the final numbers come in, and then you can vote on the exact.
Did they take more than they should last year?
They can't.
Did they raise, they didn't?
We were changing investment houses last year. The information was confusing enough so that that number was arrived at, but it was not the actual earnings.
Actual number, okay.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to table this.
Second.
And a second, all those in favor? We'll table it.
We only have one school number, is that correct?
Last time I looked.
Central school?
So
Why don't you change it to public school?
Okay, Article 41, to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $960 and appropriate $40 from the Don C. Stevens Fund for a total of $1,000 to support the academic award for the town of the highest ranking Belgrade senior graduating in 2018. I'll move that we accept that. I have a second of it. Any discussion?
Okay.
All those? Yes?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Again, it's a question of that $40 is the estimate right now. It's gonna be close, and maybe you wanna just, because of that small number, you wanna leave it alone.
Linda?
Okay.
All those in favor? All those recommending? All those not recommending? Mr. Rice?
I recommend.
Okay.
Budget committee?
Actually, I was backing up the way
3-0.
Mike pointed out, is public schools of Belgrade.
That's the wording of the trust. You can't change
Oh,
that.
okay.
That's the way it's worded.
No, that's fine.
My understanding, just to add to it, maybe I'm wrong, my understanding is the money would be used in not just Belgrade Central, or is that? Am I wrong?
Belgrade Central.
It's
I thought it was Belgrade
only,
Is it only Belgrade?
only Belgrade
Okay.
Central.
Yes.
That's right.
That's why I was questioning.
Well, no, that's why I was trying to get it clarified.
But I don't know were there ever more than one school in Belgrade?
Yeah.
The other
Yes,
18
yes.
Way back.
Okay, let's go on, gentlemen.
That may have been where it came from.
Article 42, to proceed with voting the following questions. Shall the town of Belgrade vote to accept a 12-acre parcel of property now owned by Peter and Larry Mace as a donation to the town, with the location and parcel being identified on map 4, lot 66, and adjacent to the piece of property currently owned by the town, with the location being identified on map 4, lot 65.
I'll make that recommendation.
And I'll second it. Any discussion on this? All those in favor? All those recommending? I think it was 5-5.
Yeah, I lost my.
Article 43, to proceed with the voting of the following questions, so the town of Belgrade raise and appropriate the town the additional $20,666.74 as its portion of the cost of constructing an additional 500 linear feet of new sidewalk, and to increase road widths in order to create illegal parking locations throughout the Belgrade Village area for a total cost of $60,000.
I'll make the motion.
And I'll second it. Any discussion on this? Mr. Rice?
I guess, when do we have to pay this? After the project is done?
Well, my understanding is that they needed so much, according to the agreement, so much has to be put down when they start, and then so much at the end of the completion of the project. And the amount that we have to sign a city-state agreement, right, a
Yep,
municipal
yep.
state agreement. And that agreement will be coming forward to us in February at some time. He hasn't given me an exact date. I thought it was gonna come in November, but that had been pushed. So when that is signed, they have to put that number in there. So that'll be the number that we have to have, I assume, available to pay that. But you've been part of this project a lot longer than I have.
Well, no,
worried about
I was
that.
just thinking, where we're gonna have pretty good a huge increase in our budget, if we didn't really have to raise that until next year, because the project won't be completed until the following year. But if we need it in the bank to show them, I just figured if, if we could put off that 20,000 and raise, we're gonna have to raise it.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing that point, but.
No, I know where you're coming from. I would like to, we talked about that one other time, at a select board meeting. But,
How about, do we have any idea now as to how much money we're gonna need in the general fund to safely see us through, so that we have an idea what we're gonna maybe pull out of our general fund? During the year, we don't collect taxes until fall, and I know we have.
we will have a TAN note going out, roughly $2 million TAN note. Last year, I think you had 2.1 million. It was a 2, okay. So we'll have a TAN note for $2 million. That'll carry us through, we hope, if the legislature doesn't, we hope it'll carry us through. As you know, last year we monitored it fairly closely, and Melanie was able to save us $6,000 out of the 18 that we raised, because we paid it off early and we were monitoring the amount of money coming in pretty closely. I guess we will have, though, that 2.1 plus whatever it costs to run through, and then we'll get back as much as we can. So I can't tell you exactly how much money will be available, but we run close. According to some policy guidelines that other towns have on their financial policies, they like to keep 3 months back, 1 quarter of payment available. We ran really tight at the end of the summer, largely because the legislature was late. So we didn't really have that kind of reserve capacity in terms of cash flow was really putting bang on us.
I know this is kind of on the same subject, but supposedly the letter from a representative says they're doing 55% this year, so. That's what it said. I mean, you must have read it.
I don't read those.
But anyway, that's kind of off,
That's kind
of off, but it
The
still
senator's
impacts our
leaving.
budget. Huh?
Being the senator's leaving.
If you ask them down there, they'll tell you they pay 55% every year.
They said no, but they just.
All right.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's
Roll it
like I
Yeah,
said,
go ahead, Howard.
Isn't there a possibility that we could get a confirmation from DOT for both the payment for the lakes money as well as this, that the town has to kick in and know by town meeting? And if we don't need to have that money until 2019?
We should know by town meeting.
Okay, so
Okay.
then we could,
So we could just drop that article out at that time. I mean, but it also would be beneficial for the people in the lakes to know that, I mean, from the discussions I've been hearing, and you may have had some that I didn't hear for sure, but I would, if I was the Lakes Group, I would be suspecting that I had to have that money available in February.
They have to have that money available at the signing of the city-state agreement.
that's right.
Okay. So that's by agreement, or that's by,
That's through we actually went through this, Ernie Martin said that the town would be should be pretty concerned that they would want that money when they sign that agreement. They
Right.
want that money transferred.
Well, raising this money at the town meeting doesn't mean it has to be spent right off. It could be spent at the last minute.
Yeah, it'll be spent whenever is necessary.
Yeah.
I think what Ernie Rice is
we're
saying
having to raise it.
is that if you deferred it, the actual increase in this year's budget could be offset by up to $20,000, depending on what, so when that money was needed. We have $40,000 in the, roughly 39,000, whatever that number is there. But we have that in the reserve account for sidewalks in any case. So we
could drop
didn't
that
need the other
number.
20,000, we could drop it.
At the town meeting, you can drop it off.
That makes,
It looks like it's gonna be
And
different.
it would be a good kind of educational tool to let the town know that, in fact, that would be something that's coming, but
just one other thing to address, to address the Lakes Group, That whole contract and everything was designed so that at the beginning of the project, they had to have the money. Because otherwise, we are on the hook if we go forward.
Because if we sign that city-state agreement without that money, we're on the hook.
Because we signed the agreement.
Mr. Barrett, you had a question?
A question, a comment. Reference to new sidewalk, I think will be confusing to the voter because thinking of what the village people have promised to do, that should not be confused with what they're doing. And I'm wondering if wording something like money to complete the town's share of the project costs, something along those lines better than new sidewalk.
That probably would be a good way to put it, possibly.
I just pulled it right from the
Yeah,
agreement.
no, that's right. No, that's fine. Well, it is,
You know what that is.
it's really the extension of the sidewalk. And you're right, Mike. I think probably it's our cost to complete the project
Right.
would be a good way to put it.
Okay, let's table this then. Can I get a motion to table?
Oh, yeah.
And a second? All those in favor of tabling it? Can I get some hands in the air? Ricky, I don't see, yeah, thanks.
To get it reworded.
Table
Reworded.
this.
Leave me alone.
Article 44, see with voting the following questions, so the town of Belgrade authorize the Board of Select Persons to expend an amount of money not to exceed $15,000 for projects in the best interest of the town with any expenditures over this amount to be advertised with a request for proposal that are to be put before the Board of Select Person for selection of the proposal. This article is to remain in effect until changed by a future vote of the town.
Make a motion.
And second, any discussion? Mr. Barrett?
Threshold's always been $10,000. Are we raising that now?
That was raised at the meeting a week ago Saturday.
This is what we're voting at. Are we raising it now?
That was the proposal, that's why we put it in.
Yeah.
So I saw people nodding their heads when the motion was made to.
You can't buy much of 10,000 anymore.
Fine with me.
Any more discussion? All
No,
those in favor?
is this article worded enough to automatically rescind future articles, or should this article rescind?
Well, this doesn't rescind it, it has to be changed by a future vote of the town. In other words, this is in effect until a future vote of the town. So if the board, if inflation pushes the price up to a point where 25,000 is really an appropriate number, then the board would have to put the article forward to the people would have to decide whether they want to do that.
But this is in effect rescinding old articles.
Well,
There is no old article.
We've been
They-
doing
they
it,
delete-
we've been
they-
doing it even.
We don't have a $10,000 old article?
We had one in
That was
2008,
was
but it was never a forever
It was,
article.
it was custom rather than.
Thank you.
All those in favor? All those recommending? It's 5 and
Budget
5.
committee recommending two?
So it's going to be at 15,
Yeah.
Right,
okay.
you saying yes? Okay, so it's 3.
Article 45. Proceed with voting of the following questions. Shall the town of Belgrade vote to accept any unconditional gifts, donations, pass-through funds, or any other funds that may be provided by individuals, business associations, charitable groups, or other organizations which have not been listed, or other funds and their purposes are in the best interest of the town?
I'll make the motion.
And I'll second. Any discussion on this?
I don't think the budget committee would be listed
No.
there.
No money involved.
If I could just say one thing on that. This article was in last year's report. Remember the money that this came in from the state? And we were saying, wow, you gotta, actually, this covered that, all right? One of the things I plan to do this summer is review all of the forever articles and rewrite them with the help of whoever's gonna be willing to help us, hopefully you guys. And then we can, then put a list of forever articles that are more meaningful rather than some from 1948. We really update everything.
Well, so you don't want to update this to a forever article now?
No, I do not. That's why I didn't put it in.
All those in favor? All those recommending? Thank you. Article 46, to proceed with voting the following question. Shall the town of Belgrade vote to refund excess motor vehicle excise tax credits, but only as expressly authorized by 36 MRSA 1482-5 Delta? This article is to remain in effect until changed by a future vote of the town.
Make that motion.
I'll second that, but I do have a question. What is that?
Okay, you remember back in 2008,
I know it.
this particular article was in, but it wasn't until changed by a future vote of the town. It was, but, so This article essentially, if you buy a car, and it's a $50,000 car,
I know what it
and you
is.
pay X, okay.
But I'm asking what that authorized, especially authorized.
Well, there's specific limits on what you can do. What this would do is allow us to refund the excess over, if you turn that car in, and got a cheaper car, then you would get you wouldn't have to pay out. Without this, you pay the full excise tax for the year, you don't get anything back. This gives you something back if you buy.
Okay.
And this was a heavily debated back in 2008, because I
I
remember.
know, and the people in the office don't want it, but you know what?
Well, I wouldn't say they don't want it. The town clerks are less than enthusiastic about it for other reasons, but,
What's right's right.
well, what's right is what the town says.
That's right.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. Any more discussion?
You know, will there be a copy of this 36 MR?
I will have that available.
Available? Okay, thank you.
All those in favor? All those recommended? Ricky, you're right on top of it.
I'm ready.
And
Budget committee?
budget, three.
Three.
We have contingency articles, two of them. Article 47, see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $29,807 to support the cost of salaries until March 31st, 2018 for the Recreation Department. Article 39 is required if Article 3 is defeated. Article 39, this is Article 47. Is that what it's supposed to be?
Yep.
Yeah.
Article 47 is required if Article 3 is defeated.
I'll make a motion with the change.
Yeah, I'll second that. Any discussion? Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead,
Could-
Howard.
Could somebody educate me, please? How does this coincide with the amounts that we raise, that we say, you know, where we say that up to 25% of the funds will be spent? Right, don't we already cover
That period with the tan?
that period with in effect, what is the TAN?
I don't think this has nothing to do with it.
It's not,
This
well,
is
it doesn't have to
intended-
be the TAN, but I mean, basically,
This is the money necessary to operate the facility if the town votes no on the article that would fund the whole facility. So
Right.
you have to run it, electricity, staffing and stuff to shut it down. You have to have that period of time.
Right.
If the
This
town
is a-
fails to vote to
Right.
fund, yeah, okay. Mr. Barrett?
It doesn't say anything about electricity, it says
Well,
salaries.
I said electricity.
I mean,
in the past, I think it has said to operate. We haven't lived on just salaries.
Yeah.
15,000.
Well, actually, this is even if the facility closes,
We still get
you'll
heat.
still need to heat it.
Yeah.
So there's a facilities article for that.
and we've raised money, the contingency raised money for that as well as the salaries.
I don't think so.
To protect the building.
I think this was just for the salaries.
Yeah, all this article does is, we've paid these people up until then, we've had town meetings, and there's no budgets, they're all done. And this is what we've spent, so you gotta raise that money.
That's right.
But
Yeah.
previously, didn't we say that for the next year, which would be the current year, in 2018, that we could spend up to, I mean, there was authorization to spend up to a quarter of the budget?
Yeah, it's Article 12. It's the
Yeah, that's
first
Article
Well,
12.
We have an authorization to spend that, but we still have to raise it, pay for it. That's what the issue is here. If we
This is an every year article.
We've never
Every year.
used
I know.
these yet.
No. No, but see, if we can spend up to this much money through the first quarter,
Every year.
but if this, the article to run the place doesn't pass, we've spent the money, so now we gotta raise it to pay that first 3 months.
And if we don't raise that money, what happens? If the contingency article is voted down, what's the effect?
We have to raise it.
So if the first article is voted in, the contingency article.
I know, but the first article voted down, the contingency article voted down, what do we do?
Just close the place down, it's not the reason we're home.
No. I think it's an interesting question that Howard is raising, it's something I hadn't thought about, and I don't think anyone's really thought about it. We raise a quarter of the town's cost. We get authorization to spend up to 1/4 of the budget.
Authorization?
Until town meeting, right? If, in fact, that 1/4 of the budget is as I understand what he's saying,
Right.
has money in it to run that facility for that one quarter, which is to the town meeting. I think that's where you're coming from, and I hadn't thought about that in the past. This has been in here forever.
I know, but we basically, it seems to me that we basically authorized it the year before
Probably can't.
to be able to spend up through to the town meeting, so the contingency article seems to me to be a moot
It's a
issue.
good question.
I thought there was a legal problem there.
Well,
That's why I'm asking.
I think we're looking, first off, when we come the first of the year, we can spend money,
Right.
but it's coming out of the general fund.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're spending that money, but when we take it out of the general fund, now we could be in jeopardy. We could be in jeopardy of not being able to run the town, so we have to raise the money to make sure.
There's a counter to, I mean, it's really kind of an interesting
Probably
question. It's up to you what you guys want to do. I hadn't thought about it the way.
As I was been reviewing it, that Article 12 just seemed like a conflict to me.
Gentlemen,
I mean,
I have a motion and a second, I believe, to accept that article.
it's not-
No more discussion, all those in favor? All those recommending? Budget committee, Jack? 1, 2,
Yes or no?
okay.
Yes, okay.
And the last article is also contingency, Article 48, to see if the town will
Is
raise
that 3 or?
and appropriate the sum of $12,025 to support the cost of salaries until March 31st, 2018 for the library.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it. Any more discussion? All those in favor? All those recommending? And Howard? Thank
Okay,
you.
yes, I needed to reference something, I'm sorry.
That's it, folks. We have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 table articles as I count them. Not bad, no, no, no.
Did you formally table 5, or you just said hold? I don't know what that difference was between holding and tabling.
Table.
It was tabled?
We tabled,
Okay.
we can't hold anything, I don't think, so I table.
They hold it,
All right, gentlemen, do we have anything else on the agenda? I don't believe so.
You entertain a motion to
I
adjourn?
will entertain that. Do I have it?
Yep.
Do I have a second? Howard, do you have a question?
This sheet that Melanie sent out to us, we're now at a 168 number, but that doesn't reflect the reduction of the HRA. Is there anything else that,
all of the things that you were talking about that actually you reduced or whatever you did, we'll put that in the next.
and we got an update of this one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I promise that Melanie will do it.
Put a date on that sheet, will you?
Everybody has these. So that they don't confuse it.
Okay, gentlemen, all those in
You guys
favor?
want to be real careful, it's real slippery.
Yeah.
okay, iced up, is that what it's
Road
done?
11, 10 tabs all over the place.
Well, it depends on if we get